Welcome back, everybody. It's Monday. It's a live show. What the hell happened with Beau DeMayo? Well, something happened. We knew that happened from the second he was let go. And then the question was, oh, they're going to let it go? They're not going to talk about it anymore? I was like, somebody's going to talk about it. And the second somebody does, the fit's going to hit the shan. And that's exactly what happened. Now, all the details are coming out, and it's he said, they said, it looks like. So we're going to find out exactly what the hell the report said, what Disney's saying, Beau's team fired back, and that and more. Brian Cox, he joins the crew. What crew? The crew that blames cinema not doing as well on comic book movies. Why does everybody blame comic book movies? It's like there's other reasons. It's because of Marvel and DC. That's just like that's what everybody says now. It's like there's a lot of other reasons, I think, besides just that. But we'll talk about his comments. And as I know everybody always says Succession with him, but he'll always be, I'm your uncle, Argyle. Started as Arnold, but it was Braveheart, I promise. Uncle Argyle, indeed. Well, that Brian Cox, but Charlie Cox says that he wants a Spider-Man team up. I think we all do, Charlie. We'll discuss if that's going to happen. And then John Wick, part 5. What? Yeah, it looks like it's going to happen. How's that going to work? Well, we'll discuss that. There's other things. There's other stuff going on. But we'll figure it out. And you guys are going to ask questions. You're going to have a bunch of questions, so we're going to have a bunch of answers. So you can throw in those questions now, and we'll get to them by the end of the show. So it is myself. It's John Roca. It's the big thing. It's Monday. It's live. You got all the info. Here you go. What's going on, everybody? It's me and John Roca. It's our live show on Monday, on August 19th, the year of our Lord. So what's going on, Uncle Argyle? How you doing?
It was a good accent. Good attempt at a Scottish accent.
The second half of it I hit. First part was Arnold. Your Uncle Argyle.
I'll teach you how to fight.
It's the best. Remedy.
Yeah, good weekend. Busy weekend, crazy weekend. But also, brother, you can smell it in the air. College football, NFL football is right around the corner, baby.
It's right around the corner. It's true. It's so funny. You know me, I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but
yeah,
I am also an animal of convenience.
Yes.
You know that as well. So when I had the opportunity, my friend, you know David Gambino. So Gambino was in town.
Of the Gambinos?
Yeah. And he wrote to me and he says, let's go to a baseball game while I'm here. I'm like, sure. And I was working. So he's like, which one are you doing? The Yankees or Mets? And I'm like, way easier for me to get to a Met game. It was way easier and way cheaper. They're playing the A's.
They're handing out the tickets.
Exactly. They were paying me to go to the baseball game, but I went with him and my friend James. We went to when they played the A's. And the other thing is, every time I go to see the Yankees live, every time I went to see them against the Angels, they would lose. Every time I see the Mets, they win. I don't even like the Mets.
That's weird. That is weird.
It's bizarre. Anyway, all right, let's get into this thing, man, because it's a thing. It is a thing. So let's start with the news that went down it was like Friday, really.
Yeah.
Beau DeMayo. And here I'm going to read some stuff from excerpts. What the hell's my glasses? Here they are. The Hollywood Reporter. Marvel fires back over X-Men 97 creators claim he was stripped of season 2 credits. Cites egregious investigation findings. So this is 5 months after Marvel Studios fired Beau DeMayo for mysterious reasons. The writer claimed Thursday that he no longer will get credit on the second season of the hit Disney Plus show, which he completed work on before his exit. DeMayo made the claim on social media, saying it was part of a troubling pattern he endured while working on Marvel. Marvel shot back soon after, and in a statement to the Hollywood Reporter gave insight into his firing, saying it occurred after an internal investigation. So above is X-Men fan art posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June, is what DeMayo writes. On June 13th, Marvel sent a letter notifying me that they'd stripped me of my season 2 credits due to the post. Mayo wrote on Thursday on X, along with an illustration of a shirtless version of himself as the superhero Cyclops. DeMayo, who spent several years at Marvel working on a draft of he worked on the Blade feature as well as the TV show Moon Knight, added, sadly, this is the latest in a troubling pattern I suffered while working on X-Men 97 and Blade. Marvel responded by saying that DeMayo's behavior was the cause of his firing and for him losing his credits. They wrote, Mr. DeMayo was terminated in March 2024 following an internal investigation, said a Marvel spokesperson in a statement. Given the egregious nature of his findings, we severed ties with him immediately, and he has no further affiliation with Marvel. Sources say that following his exit, an agreement was reached between the two parties over the issue of tweeting about the show, something that DeMayo has continued to occasionally do. In light of the breaches, his credit for season 2 was removed. While no details of the cause of the termination for the internal reviews have surfaced, sources say it involves sexual misconduct. DeMayo did not immediately return a request for comment. DeMayo was an avid social media user during his tenure at Marvel, sharing X-Men tidbits as well as shirtless pictures of himself and even running a non-explicit OnlyFans account. This all led the LGBTQ publication out to declare him the sexy gay Marvel writer and showrunner to know. On the surface, the notion that Marvel would strip DeMayo of a credit due to a social media post would stretch credibility. Is that what it says? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I have glasses on too. As outside observers note, the gay pride illustration is similar to a number of posts he made while employed at Marvel. And fired Marvel executive Victoria Alonso retained credit on projects she previously worked on following her exit in 2023. But the reveal of an internal investigation points to deeper causes. So the last part about this is, despite the bad press around his firing, X-Men went on to be a hit with audience's critics, yada, yada, yada. Until now, DeMayo has remained mostly mum in his firing from Marvel, though in recent days he did note that he had tried and failed to secure a seat at the Emmys from the studio. There's a little bit more here, but we can dive into it. John's covered this, so we can get a little more insight. Is there anything in general, John, here that I missed that I didn't continue to go over?
Well, no, not you. I think you've done the good general broad brush for the situation for sure. But with Jeff's report over the weekend, on Friday rather, that really highlighted some of these accusations that might have been going on behind the scenes. Again, this is sources telling Jeff, and Jeff vets his sources pretty thoroughly. Doesn't mean he's always right, but almost always he is with these kinds of things, because Jeff is very sensitive. He's not a sensationalist in this way. That Beau DeMayo was allegedly sending pictures of himself in various states of undress to male staffers in the 20 to 30-year-old range, whether they wanted them or not. And I think that's what was part of the situation. And then apparently groped a particular person over on the production staff. And again, these are all alleged things that Jeff heard from his sources. So this is not named in the Disney situation, but someone, because you and I have dealt with corporations before.
Sure.
The word egregious is a very big word that corporations use to essentially say, we have numerous examples of this. We have investigated these examples. And so now we can say egregious because it's a lot. And so clearly there's a lot of smoke here and a fire. The question is why? Why now? Why do this? Why shoot yourself in the foot like this unless you've got incredible evidence to go against Disney with? I don't understand.
Unless you just are a person who is a product of self-destruction.
Clearly, right?
Yeah. It's like that happens. That happens, and we've seen it. We've seen it in smaller people. Look, I've told you this many times over, and it's not. We joke about it, but social media is the destruction of all of us. It is the destruction of all of us. It has ruined many careers, right and wrong.
Yeah, true.
And it is going to continue to do that because people should not have this tool at the ready in the way that they do. And in order to do, and this is completely separate from the other thing you just said, that from the allegations of what Jeff was writing about. This is just, if you're posting stuff and people say, hey, okay, look, you got fired, and now the part of the deal is we're going to give you your credit.
Yeah.
But don't talk about this anymore.
Just be quiet.
Just go and get, it'll blow over after a little while. Go get your job, do your thing. You'll be fine. We're not going to talk about it. You don't talk about it. And then see you later. Go do your thing. And he decided he wanted to keep tweeting. So okay, fine. Then you don't get credit. You're done. Yeah. And you're not going to beat Disney that way. And he's just one of these guys that because I do think, and I don't know this for a fact, but I do think sometimes that people think, you know what? I can get such an army behind me on Twitter. And I can get so many people behind me thinking like, yeah, X-Men 97 was so good. It's not going to be as good without you. And so, you know what? F Disney. So we got your back. And it's like, yeah, but if there's more to the story, shush.
Yeah. And the thing is, relying on an internet mob to be behind you consistently is a fool's errand. It is a fool's decision, because the internet mob turns in a minute the second they think you're not loyal or you're not fully going with them. Like, the crazier it gets, if you don't go as crazy with them, then they turn on you for not going as crazy with them.
Just know how loyal you are to them.
Yeah, no, there's no winning with an internet mob. Absolutely zero.
No, it's like you think you're fighting whatever cause you think you're fighting.
Yeah.
That cause is going to turn on you whenever it benefits them.
Yeah.
And so you know, it's like, and if they don't, and the other side of that is if they're like, yeah, I just saw this clip. There's an old school clip, and it's John McEnroe yelling at some lady in the front row. Have you seen this clip?
I probably have in my lifetime, knowing
John. As 80s as it gets. And so here's this woman. She's been screaming at him the whole entire game.
Yeah.
She's yelling at him, screaming at him, yelling at him. And so finally, you know, McEnroe, he goes over and he says, shush. He just tells her to stop yelling during my stuff. And so the lady she calls him an a-hole, right? Yeah. And then she gets up and goes like this to the crowd.
Yeah, right. Quoting the crowd response.
Crickets. Yeah. Because it is, no, you yelling at him the whole time.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's like you gotta, now the other side of it is if he was a complete, you know, jerk, starts screaming at her the whole time, and then the crowd's like, yeah, get him. You know, like, that happens on Twitter also.
Yeah, we saw that with Serena, when Serena was yelling at that line umpire. That female line umpire said she was going to shove the ball down her throat because she didn't like the way she was calling stuff. And yeah, the internet turned on Serena, and that's or the sports fans turned on Serena. That's the thing.
Yeah.
With Beau, though, I mean, this is where it's perplexing. And you might be right. It might. I don't want to default to self-destruction in 2024, but you might be right here, Christian, because if he, as you said, if he had just stayed quiet, took his lumps, Disney was willing to go into an understood agreement that they weren't going to say anything to a future employer about him as long as he didn't start any stuff, and he could have gone on to another employer, possibly pulled the same stuff with a new employer, because apparently in Jeff's reporting, he had done this at Netflix as well, allegedly. Then the pattern could have kept repeating with Beau. But Beau opening his mouth, challenging Disney, I think you're right. I think he thought, well, we've seen so many people supposedly about to get canceled, but then all these people rally around him. Maybe Beau thought, well, if I paint
and they love my show, and they love my show so
much. Love my show, right? And if I paint the narrative that they're being homophobic, then I will really get all these people on my side. Plus, I'm black, so maybe it's racist too. I get all these people on my side, and I'll be able to fight the mouse. But if the mouse has evidence, that's all going to come out, and we're going to see what happens.
And they clearly feel it, because look, you could see where they would get if they didn't, where they would get nervous and say, "Oh, you know what? We'll hire you back."
Right?
They would get, because
all right, we won't come to the Emmys. We won't take your name off the credits. Yeah,
we shouldn't have acted in the way that we did, and we shouldn't have just fired you because of a tweet, because they've done that before. And they're like, "Oh my God, everybody's going to go nuts, and they're gonna get so mad at us if we do this." And Disney's done that before. But if they have enough, they're like, "Oh, there's enough there that there's no way we could have this guy work for us again, and we made a good deal with you. Just it's over."
Yeah,
it's over, but we're not going to say anything about it. And because it was weird, we said it when we were talking about it initially. Nobody was saying anything, and they weren't even. There's, oh yeah, he's gone. Well, why? The day before the premiere, it's like he's gone. Why? You know, but they never said. So now it's like, okay, if he's opening his mouth, we'll tell you why, because he was doing some stuff. So you want to keep coming after us? You want to try to get the mob? And we can show you what you did, and then we have the right to do it. I think this is a lose situation for Beau DeMayo.
Yeah, I think he thought it was Magneto.
Yeah,
and it's not Magneto.
Not this time around. This is, I mean, especially if he did all the stuff that Jeff's talking about. It's like, you will not win this, because no one's going to want you to be there, and it doesn't matter. The mob's going to turn against you and say, no, if you're doing shady stuff at work and you're not making a safe place for people to be around, it doesn't matter how good your show is.
And Christian, let's say even if it was consensual, you're still violating the ethics there of being a manager or being a showrunner. And with a subordinate person, and I don't mean subservient, subordinate, lower than you on the pecking scale, you are sending these pictures, you're essentially intimidating them to want to, or to have to respond to this kind of stuff.
Right.
And
That's
that's
not
where it becomes
1965 anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's one of these things. I mean, even bringing back that McEnroe clip again, right?
Yeah.
Which I never thought in any world would be that relevant twice in one conversation. But they're like, so the conversation that the announcers are having are, I mean, they're super misogynistic and not, of
course,
right? But like where they're going with it is basically, well, the woman, this person, what you probably say today is this person shouldn't be yelling at McEnroe. Let him do his thing. Instead, they're like, well, what do you expect him to give you a kiss? It's like right. And it's like the things you can do and that you got away with and what you'd say. And that was just, and it was the norm for them. They didn't think that they would get in trouble for something like that, right? Because they didn't, and they wouldn't have. In the same way that, but you're now, and you're tweeting, you're sending pictures to people, and you're doing. I mean, this is like post, like all this stuff that's gone down and over the last like 5 years, right? It's like, what are you doing? What are you, and why are you risking that? And that's why I say some people just have this thing where they can't control themselves, and it's a destruction thing.
It's
so
unfortunate. I agree.
It's unfortunate, but it's unfortunate again if it's the people that, as you say, allegedly, if these things did happen, it was unfortunate to them that they couldn't just enjoy their job, and they have to they get these pictures, they get these things, and they're trying, and they know, and it's got to also be a bummer because you're working on this thing is good. This guy is extremely talented. That he understands what the fans want. And then you got to also understand if you're on the other side of it, where you're like, oh, okay, we made this deal with this guy. Let's just wash our hands of this thing. He's going to get his credit. Everything was fine. It's, and then he's tweeting about it. You're like, all right, that's it. Now we have to do the thing that we didn't want to do. And now we're not going to, you put our backs against the wall. We're going to fight back.
And the lawyer he's chosen is a lawyer who's represented Sage Steele, and other people have gone up against Disney, the far right contingent, so to speak, who have gone against Disney. I'm sure he may have consulted with Gina Carano's lawsuit, very possible, because Friedman came out with that statement and said very clearly, like, this is what Disney does. They try to shut everybody up and have them sign NDAs. Probably not wrong, but Beau is the one who started this. If Beau doesn't accuse Disney of being homophobic or against the LGBT community with that post, then this whole shitstorm doesn't start. So to now retroactively go after Disney and say, oh, they made him sign this stuff, really is a waste of time. And people went through his timeline and were like, what he's talking about does not make sense with the posts he was posting according to the timeline. So it's just out of control. And I do want to give a plug to Jeff. If you guys don't subscribe to his newsletter, theinsnyder.com, go and subscribe. Jeff does great reporting there. And certainly this was something he was sitting on for quite some time before he let it out of the bag,
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate circumstance overall, but what do you guys think about it, man? All right, I'm going to move to the next story here, John. We got the box office. The box office. I'll get you out of there. I know the reason I can't. I'm trying to adjust this stupid.
Oh, I love it. I wish I had a better background for you to be entertained.
There we go. All right. So as we said last week, man, we knew that Alien Romulus was going to dethrone Deadpool and Wolverine, but after however many weeks it was, Deadpool and Wolverine. We'll start with them. They're 1.1 billion. I told you it was going to start to slow, though. I told you. Again, you don't listen to me. Will you start listening to me when it comes to box office, John? 1.1, still hell of a box office run thus far, and it still made 29 million last weekend. It ends with Us, did another 24 million. That movie so far, controversy or not, it made 179 million dollars worldwide. It's made almost 100 million already domestically.
Nice.
That is a massive hit for what that is. Twisters, what? They put Twisters back in the theater?
Probably, or it's still been hanging on, man.
Hanging on. Holy crap! I just watched it again over the weekend with my wife on Amazon. It was 9.8.
Yeah,
that's a good. And look at that, Coraline. My daughter was upset because she wanted me to take her to see Coraline, and we forgot that it was out. So that made 8.4. But Romulus makes 41.5 for Alien Romulus. this is you and I both enjoyed this movie thoroughly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw some. I mean, I've seen people that we know talking about, like, I've seen a lot of people that we know go, and it was okay. I've seen people who have liked garbage talking about this movie, and I'm like, why? Why stop this? It's like it's their opinion. But I was reading some people tweeting out about, well, I thought it fall apart. I'm like, I've seen your reviews on other things, and come on, this movie,
No.
this movie was really I enjoyed the hell of it. They took big swings.
Yes.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm a big Fede Alvarez. Fede Alvarez
me
is
too.
a star of this film, followed by Kaylee. And then I agree with you. The dude who plays what's it?
Andy.
Yeah,
David Johnson. Yeah.
David Johnson. He was fantastic.
Yeah. Agreed.
Fantastic. So I mean, the whole cast was, but I think it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I'm glad it's doing decent. But yeah, I mean, anything really. I mean, I think the only thing is, I'll tell you what stands out. I'm gonna answer the question I'm asking.
Okay.
What stands out about the numbers here? And the answer is this Blake Lively movie.
Yeah.
I mean, holy moly.
Yeah, as I'm reading now on People, it has crossed $200 million globally.
Wow.
Globally, 200. Like you said, the better than expected. We said last week, 50 million opening last week.
Yep.
This weekend, 24 million. Yeah, it dropped 52%, but you can drop 52% when you go over $200 million.
Cover your budget the first weekend.
The budget was 25 million.
Yeah.
Now, so for all the controversy and cancel Blake Lively, and let's dig up old interviews. And look, by the way, I'm no fan of hers and what she did and what she pulled in this or any stuff in the past. I think she's just a rich little mean girl. But look, her and Ryan clearly figured out how to make money off of this movie by pitching it a certain way and courting the controversy. And, and Justin isn't going to care because Justin gets paid off of this stuff, making money as well. So as much as his reputation may be a little bit in question with the back and forth with Blake, just like hers is, $200 million, Christian, I'll gladly fight with you to make $200 million on a $25 million movie, for God's sake. So.
You got that part. Hey, look, if that's part of your contract, your part of your contract is I'm going to make money. And all right, fine. You know what? But maybe they would have made the same deal. It's like, let's not say anything. Let's not talk about anything. Let's, whatever happens here, we'll go our separate ways. You do your thing. I happen to agree with you. I didn't love that interview that resurfaced. We didn't talk about that last week because I'm always obviously going to take the side of the interviewer. Yeah. When it comes to, depending on presentation, right? I'll always take the side of the person who's in the right when it comes to, like, I remember when we were watching some interview that Downey did with this asshole face.
Oh yeah, right. Yes.
And this guy was just
British guy. Yes,
he wasn't. This guy is like a gotcha type guy, and he's he's one of these. He was there. There's people don't understand is that he's there to talk about. I think it was one of the Avengers movies or whatever it was, or Iron Man movie, whatever it was. If you go in there and you're sitting down, like if I have somebody in for a one-on-one interview. And I tell the publicists as they're coming, I'm like, I cover everything. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's a deep dive into the person's life. Yeah. He gets mad at me for bringing up something where I'm like, hey, in your past, you've this, and this. And in it, he's going, well, hey, why are we talking about this? I'm like, because I told you guys we were going to go. I mean, you don't have, we got to back off and I'll have that conversation. And then I think whoever that person is, if it's me or anyone says that, then they're in the right. Right. But if you're bombarding somebody, and it's you going after somebody in a moment, like you watch that interview, it is horrible what that guy does to Downey. And Downey leaves, and he had every right to. Downey was 100% in the right, and I'll stand by that. This woman, started off by asking Blake Lively, I think, was pregnant at the time.
She was 8 months pregnant. She had announced it 2 or 3 months before.
Congratulations on your bump. I mean, maybe it's like congratulations on your pregnancy. If she says bump, because maybe she's maybe there was something that she was a little self-conscious about her body or whatever it might be. But that's not the intention of what the reporter was doing. Right. It wasn't. And then she was just talking to Parker Posey the whole time, turning her body and being, it's just being rude. And the woman took it as well as she could. But in my opinion, that Blake Lively and Parker Posey, to be clearly honest, were in the wrong for the way they treated that woman. And maybe Parker less so than Blake, but it was
Parker was just trying to make the best of it.
He was trying to make the best of it, but it was, and we also, and this is the other thing that I've said many times over, and why I think Twitter is such a shithole, and other places are too. I'm not going to go so far as to call Blake Lively a mean girl and say she's a spoiled rich girl and all that stuff too, because I'll tell you, I don't know what she was going through that time in her life. I don't know what she was going through that day when she walked in. I've had a bad day on air, and I took the lumps for it, and I still take the lumps for it, and I deserve it. But like, there are times that people they have bad days. Now, I don't know if that necessarily was a bad day for her. She's having a bad month. She's having a bad year, right? Whatever it might be. I give people a little bit more leniency when it comes to having bad times. But the question is, I would have liked to seen her address it and say something along the lines of, "Hey, this was something I shouldn't have done, and I feel bad about it." And I would, I'd be forgiving of that. Not everybody would, but I would be forgiving of that. And I don't know if she feels that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not. But I also not just going to just say. I mean, and no offense to you, but I'm not going to go ahead and, because I've seen people beside you calling her a mean girl, say she's spoiled and all that too. I don't know what she was going through that day.
Well, I mean, for me, it's more a matter of repeated examples of it, not just the interview, but other stuff that's come out, and speaking to people who've worked on sets with her, me personally speaking to people who've worked on sets with her, and then seeing other people on social media who've like published emails from people who've been on sets with her. So it's just like, you see numerous examples and you get a good idea. But look, the way you're approaching it, I think, is also a very sweet way to approach it. You're giving grace. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's just two different ways to approach the situation for me. And I look at it and I just go, it's unfortunate all around, because this kind of taints what could have been a really good story in terms of her coming out with a movie like this with her husband, and their husband and wife making a lot of money, which hadn't happened. I think it's been 64 years or something like that since a husband and wife both had different movies at the same time making a lot of money and topping the box office. So it just kind of taints it all. And the story of the film about domestic violence and overcoming domestic violence is also getting lost with all of this drama, for sure.
Well, doesn't it also get overshadowed? And that's the other thing. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't speak on it too much. But one of the things that I've seen is that people are like, the way that it's been promoted is just kind of like brushed past it. I think there was another interviewer who asked her something about it in a serious way, and she kind of joked about it and went in a different way with it and didn't even acknowledge it. And people who had, suffered domestic violence and those things kind of took offense to that. And they're like, why aren't you addressing this? This is more so than what this is. And so, but I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really speak on it. You didn't see it yet, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I will, to be honest with you, but I probably should at some point. But yeah, I don't know if I will. But you're right, because this morning the Daily Mail, I was watching on TikTok, Daily Mail posted a clip of their interview, and she said, yeah, the film does cover domestic violence, but it's not just about being defined by it, it's about overcoming things, and it's a fun and funny film. And it's like, what are you talking about? So it just becomes this idea of it was clear that they purposely wanted to push down the story of domestic violence and elevate the story of female empowerment or overcoming these obstacles, so you're not defined by it, which I get. But I think it's a mistake to, kind of try to push down the domestic violence thing, which is what most people are offended by, to be honest.
Yeah, that one's harder for me to speak on, just only because I haven't seen the movie itself.
Totally.
All right,
I should go see it though, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably wind up checking it out, especially when it comes out. That reminds me, in the fact that, and maybe even do a watch along to it, because we're going to start adding more movie reactions to this channel. And I mentioned I'm adding some new people to the channel, and if you haven't seen the community posts, we're going to have a movie reaction team. And Matt Serra will be one of those people, but I'm adding 4 new ladies to the rotation. One is my friend Samantha, one is my friend Alexandra, just goes by Alex, one is my friend Tina, and one will be my lovely wife.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So
mixing business with pleasure. Okay.
I know, but this was something that it all came about. We're going to do a bunch of movies, and that's going to start sooner than later. I don't know which one we're going to do first. I might make my wife watch Bumblebee. She won't watch it, but now I make her watch Bumblebee.
So to clarify, what you're saying, movie reactions, you're going to watch stuff with somebody in your office. That's the react. You're not talking about they're going to come out and do an out of theater movie reaction.
No. So I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit next to my my guest, and I'm gonna say, I'll put each one of us on screen, and then I think most of them are going to be first time watching for them. And then what happened? What do you like?
Christian, you got to put up this guy, Dallas East. Put him up. But he's been so angry. He's been coming at me the whole
Oh,
chat.
why don't you pay attention to it?
Great. Now dump this loser, Roka. And let me tell you, I know a loser because I'm on YouTube watching. I know a loser when I see one, and I've got no subscribers, and I'm going to tell you who a loser is.
I love you take that bait. They
only certain ones. Only certain ones. I love this.
They put raw meat like a pit bull. They just go after.
We both do it. Come on.
I'm telling you,
somebody rewind the tape. The last episode, you went after somebody in the chat for going like, "Hey, why don't you do this?" And you
yelling, but when it's insulting and stuff though too, you gotta don't let it get to you. You're gonna.
I make fun of it now. I like it. I think it's funny.
Well, either way, we're gonna have a bunch of new people on this channel, and I'm excited for you guys to meet all of them.
Awesome.
And we're gonna have a bunch of new videos and movies and things. They'll be watching a lot of these things for the first time. My friend Samantha has seen nothing, which is amazing. She hasn't
Samantha.
Yeah. So, all right, before we keep going, I want to tell you guys, I'm excited to talk to you both about both AG1, Rocket Money. You guys, you've been watching my show long enough, you know both of them, but I'm going to tell you about both of them again right now. I've told you about Rocket Money, guys, and the reason why for Rocket Money was so important is that I for a long time I used to do these things where I'd be on my phone and I'd start searching for these apps. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll sign up. Oh, for free? Yeah, it's free for now, but then it's going to be $20-$30 a month, and you forgot that you're even paying it. And I was like, oh, well, this Rocket Money lets you know about what subscriptions that you have that you're not paying attention to. It can cancel subscriptions for you. It really is amazing, and it just cuts so much time out of my schedule, and I love it because you don't even know how much you're paying in subscriptions, and you're probably paying way more than you think, because over 74% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about, and I definitely did that. I can tell you that right now. Like there was a couple. I'm telling you, some of these apps, I tried some of these apps, and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot all about it. You think you spend around $62 per month on subscriptions, something like that, but it's close to about 300. It goes about 300 a month, because Rocket Money is also, it's a personal finance app. And it cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors all of your spending, and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Because I got full control over my subscriptions. I have a clear view of my expenses. It helped tremendously on this move. And you don't want to waste money. So it's got over 5 million users, and they say from what they said, the average people, I think overall, everyone that's using it, 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Wow. It saves about $740 a year. It's great. So stop wasting money on things that you don't use. You just cancel your unwanted subscriptions. You go to rocketmoney.com/thing, rocketmoney.com/thing. Very easy. Rocketmoney.com. And I got to tell you about AG1. You guys know AG1. I mean, if you've been listening to this show long enough, you know that I love AG1. And people keep asking me. They notice. John even said when I started, new look, 20 pounds I lost. One of those reasons. AG1 became part of my routine, because for a long time I wasn't paying attention to what was going on in my body. It just wasn't. For me, I read labels, I verify that everything is up to the quality I need, and that is why I've stayed with AG1 for as long as I have. It is a research-backed foundational nutrition supplement, and it delivers daily nutrients, gut health support, and it's backed by multiple research studies, so you can trust what you're putting into your body. Because I like coffee. I used to drink so much coffee to keep up, but I don't need it anymore, not as much, because after drinking AG1, I have realized that I have all this energy and I need less coffee to power my day. And it turns out I'm not alone, because in a research study, 91% of people noticed they needed less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. 97% of people in a research study felt more energy after 30 days of drinking AG1. That's crazy. 91% of participants noticed that they need less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. That's me. Energy is a majorly important reason why it comes to I need so much energy for parenting. I can tell you that right now. AG1 contains ingredients to sustain energy so you can be the best version of yourself within each day. And it really has worked for me, and it's helped me on the plane, everything. It's easy, it's satisfying to start your journey with AG1. If you go to AG1, and you can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. You got to go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. drinkag1.com/bigthing. Coming up here, and I'm going to bring up this topic, man, because
Okay.
this is an interesting one to me. Brian Cox, he says, cinema is beginning to implode. Succession star and British acting legend Brian Cox says that cinema is in a very bad way right now, with part of the blame going on superhero franchises. Cox, who's never afraid to speak his mind, appeared at the Edinburgh International Film Festival panel on Saturday and, via The Hollywood Reporter, was asked about how critically acclaimed the popular various TV series have taken over much of the zeitgeist conversation in recent years. Cox, who jumps between films and TV fairly regularly, had his own fun in comic book movies as William Stryker in X2, and he says that cinema is hitting some real rough times. He says what's happened is that television is doing what cinemas used to do. I agree with that. I think cinema is in a very bad way. I don't know about that. I think it's lost its place because of partly the grandiose elements between Marvel, DC, and all of that. And I think it's beginning to implode, actually. You're kind of losing the plot. He says that films are making a lot of money that makes everybody happy, but in terms of the work, it becomes diluted afterwards. He then brings up his time in those films and how he understands the draw for actors financially and socially. I mean, I've done those kind of projects. Deadpool meets the guy, Wolverine, who I created, but I've forgotten. Actually, when those films are on, there's always a bit of me as Stryker, and they never pay me any money. So it's just become a party time for me. So it's just become a party time for certain actors to do this stuff. When you know that Hugh Jackman can do a bit more, Ryan Reynolds, but it's because they go down that road and it's box office. They make a lot of money. You can knock it. You can't knock it, However, television is pulling ahead, in part because of the lack of time constraints. There's so many shows, and you've got the honor of telling the story over a period of time. However, there's some sadness there, as films of his childhood made him want to be the actor that he's become. And then those films are going away. So there's a lot in here, John. There's a lot. I'm going to say this. There's some the meat of this. I agree with the meat of it.
Hmm.
I don't agree with the fact that everybody always said. I joked about it in the intro. It seems like every old school actor and director just immediately point their finger and go, "It's comic book movies. It's them." The comic book movies. Now. What he was saying was the big grandiose movies that they overspend for. And like that aspect of it, I couldn't agree more with. Like
Right.
that they lose the plot. They just look to try to get people what they think people want to see. So they put the money into the movies. They overspend. They put the big blockbuster budgets and they overspend. They do all this stuff. So I don't disagree with that. But the only reason you're blaming it on Marvel and DC because those are the ones that have been super successful all the time and continue to go on.
Right.
I don't know. What do you make of some of these comments?
This feels like, and I don't want to. Okay, fine. I'll say it. It just feels like an old man getting angry on the couch, yelling about everything in front of the television. This is what it feels like to me. And look, Brian Cox has more than earned the right to do that. I've been very blessed to be able to interview him, which is up on my channel, 30 minutes, like 3 years ago before they started doing the final season of Succession. Great interview. Definitely a guy that does not mince words, has very strong opinions about the film industry and about acting. And so nothing he said here struck me as inauthentic in that this is what he legitimately believes. But how much do I know that how much do I believe rather that Brian Cox is like exploring all the movies that are coming out in the cinema, the smaller films, the international films, the films that are in different languages, all these, the up and coming film directors. I don't think Brian Cox is out here watching all these films. What's the new one that came out, Didi or whatever? Like, I don't think he's out here watching all to make an assessment about what's going on with the film industry. Because in my opinion, I think he's talking about mainstream film culture. And I totally understand that because tastes have changed. It's become way more of a blockbuster culture. But I would argue that the level and quality of the films overall being made, I would put up against almost any decade, because there are so many people who are now have access to tell their stories or tell stories, who come from so many different walks of life, different genders, different identities, sexual identities, different ethnicities, who are telling these incredible stories, who are opening our minds up for people who have access to this stuff. There's so many incredible independent films that are out there for people to enjoy and watch and really savor, that are dramas and comedies and black comedies and noirs. All kinds of stuff is out there. So to say the film industry, I think he's talking about the mainstream, and I wish they would clarify that. mainstream film industry, theatrically released films from big studios. This.
It's changed.
Overall, yeah.
That's the bottom line, is that it's changed today. The type of movies that do successful, the type of movies that people are going to see in the theaters, that has changed, and he's not wrong about it. We've talked about that many times over, and TV is partially the main reason of why that is too, because you can see there's a positive and negative to it, right? And I think the major positive is something you're saying, these smaller movies and these smaller things that if you put them in theaters, would be significantly harder to get made, make any money off of them, and it's like, oh, this movie played in front of 200 theaters across the country, or shoot, let's say 15 theaters across the country, and a couple people saw them here and there, but then you put them on Netflix, Amazon, and you're opening up. Look at Roxy's movie, right? The Always Lola. You make that movie in 1999, and it's going to be very hard to get people to see it. It's going to wind up on VHS, it's going to be like you're walking through, like, oh, what's that movie? And it maybe finds a life if somebody picks it up on cable and that type of thing. But it comes off, and through social media and through everything else, and it finds itself an audience and it gets on Amazon, and you see way more people see it than they would if it was in the theater, right?
Yeah.
But the actor, and especially an old school actor like Brian Cox, you come up with this idea as you're growing up, and he said as much. You have these actors that were larger than life on the silver screen, and you see them, and there was certain movies, like whether it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or even going farther back with what's the one with Boo Radley?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Thank you. So Kill a Mockingbird comes out, and based off the novel and all that stuff, and that's the type of movie back in the day that was the blockbuster. That was the big huge movie. That's not a blockbuster today.
Nope.
But he's not wrong, where you're getting more opportunities in television to really shine your acting chops. Because the movie theater in general is a spectacle place now. It is, but it's not a comic book movie's fault. That's the when they were going after the summer movie. You want to blame somebody? You blame Jaws.
Blame Spielberg.
Blame Jaws.
Yeah.
If you're gonna blame somebody, like because when Jaws came out and created the blockbuster, and then Star Wars came out, then people realized they could make a lot of money on movies like this, and the industry changed. I'd say, yeah, you're right, but you can't blame Marvel and DC on this one.
I agree with you. It's too ridiculous that people are constantly coming after Marvel and DC movies, and it's just frustrating because you're like, this is just the fall guy. Because what you do then when you do that is you're also like giving people an excuse to not get blamed for terrible writing, for bad directing, bad acting in these mainstream films that get put out that aren't superhero films. You go, oh, nobody came because it wasn't a Marvel or DC film. No, you made a bad movie. Own it. Accept it. You made a bad movie. So too much of this is coming after Marvel and DC, and who, by the way, are both have had their problems. Marvel currently, DC in the past. So it hasn't been like it's been an uninterrupted winning streak for years and years and years. They've had some. I mean, Marvel, especially now, is sure Daredevil and Wolverine did well, but nothing says the next Marvel movie is necessarily going to do well.
You just said it. The frustration comes with the old school actor and the actor in general. The actor in general, where you're hearing what's everybody talking about over the last 2 weeks in the cinema, Deadpool and Wolverine. So to him, he's going, oh, another one of these freaking superhero movies, and that's all everyone's talking about. Yeah, but why is that, Brian? Why is it? Why are people going to see those? It's not just because of spectacle, because there's tons of spectacle crap, and there's tons of spectacle that don't do well. Look at Furiosa.
Yes,
it was spectacle, and it had what's that? The Fall Guy, Fall Guy spectacle. So it's not just that. I think that there's more to it. But I think that you're not going to change and it's the same thing I say about Scorsese. When everybody I'm not complaining about Brian Cox's comments. I love Brian. I'm not complaining about him. I don't think it's correct, but I'm not complaining about them, because in the same way that I say about Martin Scorsese, both Martin Scorsese, Brian Cox can complain about whatever they want. They've earned it. They've earned it. B, you're not going to change their point of view. He's in the 70s, 80s, whatever it is. It's like,
exactly.
You talk to my dad about things and have conversations. I know that my dad's going to have a point of view from old school that I'm not going to agree with at all, but I'm not going to change his mind. Wait a minute, Dad. No, Marvel and DC, they're not to blame. You know what? You're right. He's going to tell me F myself. And so it's like, get out of here. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking. I was a nom. I'm like, yeah, what does that have to do with Marvel and DC? So it's
I was knee deep in the shit. Where were you?
What are you talking about? I know what I'm talking about here. And so it's you let it fly. Who cares? So, but
That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, notice that they almost never go after the audience. The audience, it's a supply and demand business. If the audience wanted to go back to terms of endearment days of the 80s or the Godfather days of the 70s, if the audience wanted to go back to that, then you would see that they would come out. Look, Oppenheimer. Okay, well, how do you explain Oppenheimer? That's not a blockbuster. That's a $1 billion movie. In no way is that a blockbuster type movie. It is because of the money it made, but not the way it was made. That movie could have made 50 million, Christian. It's really, it's Nolan, whatever, but still, it's about a guy from the 1940s who built a nuclear bomb. How many people are excited to see a movie like that, yet it made $1 billion? So you just kind of it just is a lot. You're right. It is. There's no change in their opinions, but they never go after the audience because the audience is the one who patronizes their shit. It's always convenient to go after the studios.
Of course. But I'll tell you, I think if he would have gone after the studios and said, the problem is because people always tell me there's somebody said, well, this guy's obsessed with budgets. What do you care about the budgets for? As long as they make a good movie. I'm like, because you can make a good movie that's not $200 million. You can, going off of Brian Cox's point, you can make a really good, well-acted movie, and the problem is that the studios feel they have to spend so much money on them that they lose money and nobody wants to make them. But if you start I look at that romantic. I mean, not that this is a quality cinema, but the Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell.
Oh yeah. Anyone but you or something like that. Yeah,
the movie cost $6 and 3 Snickers bars to make, and it made a lot of money because it didn't rely on people having to rush out opening weekend to see it.
Yeah.
It had no counter programming. It was able to keep on a chugling, as Mark Ellis would say, and it kept making money, and that's how you do it. So, so for that person who's watching, why is so upset with the budget? Because that's how you can change the industry, and that's why I want to see quality stuff. So when I bring that up, it's because you look. Alien Romulus is a perfect example. Alien Romulus cost whatever it was, 70 million, which is a smaller budget these days for a big August movie, 70, 75 million, whatever it was. Had very, very good actors in it who cost nothing much, nothing. And they used their budget when it counted.
Yep.
So, okay. So let's see. I'm see you guys got your questions coming in there. Throw them in there. We're going to cover one more topic before we get to your questions. So as I mentioned earlier, if you put your comments in there now, I see there's a bunch. It's like 23 questions already. The super chat. That's amazing. So we'll have a bunch of questions to go through. If you guys anything you want, doesn't have to be movies, doesn't have to be TV, can be whatever you want. If there's wrestling stuff in there, go ahead. But we'll do some more stuff. Last news topic that I want to get to is this. Now this is going to be a spoiler for John Wick 4. So if you haven't seen John Wick 4, I would come back later.
Go make a sandwich.
Production on a 5th John Wick film is reportedly targeting a 2025 start. Keanu Reeves is going to return to lead the role again, according to Daniel RPK. This nearly 3-hour John Wick Chapter 4 closed out its run with $440 million at the box office, just $100 million budget. Going off the point we just made, that is the 4th movie of a franchise, and it only cost $100 million to make. By the time you get to some 4th movies, they're spending $300 million, $100 million to make, and a 3-hour movie. Despite the events of that film, another chapter is understandable. Shortly after the film's release, Lionsgate president Joe Drake confirmed 5th John Wick was in development, with director Chad Stahelski a few months later indicating he had ideas for some more. Script work got underway just after the strike ended. Then in January, Stahelski and Lionsgate announced a deal that gives him creative oversight over both John Wick and the rebooted Highlander franchise with the intent of expanding Wick. The Wick spin-off Ballerina underwent reshoots back in February. It's on track for a June 2025 release, while the John Wick Under the High Table TV series is in the works and likely going to bridge the gap between the 4th and the 5th film in the way next month the Penguin will do for the 2 Matt Reeves Batman films. All right, John.
Yeah.
I want you to do me a favor here.
Do it.
Explain to me how the hell this makes sense.
Come on, do it. What do you mean? What do you mean it makes? Oh,
we never saw. I'm doing it. That's true.
We never saw him, and then buried, and then a whole. We didn't see any of that. So, I think it was always let's see if people show up to this 2-hour and 45-minute movie, and they did. So now they got to make a movie.
Someone just called it and Mike Joyce just called it. John Wick Resurrection. It's probably the name of the movie.
Bang, bang, boom. Perfect.
The name of the movie. It's a good call.
Done.
And yeah, I mean, look, no, it's people get over that question very fast.
Oh yeah,
knowing that John Wick, that Keanu Reeves is coming back. It's gonna be very hard to find someone who doesn't love Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you want to see him do this until he doesn't want to do it. If he wants to do it and they think they can do it again, I don't want to see another 3-hour John Wick movie, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, enough with the killing. Like, enough with the ridiculous ability to kill nonstop for 3 hours.
So now that's the question, though, because if you go back and you watch those movies, the first one is, I mean, granted, it's still a spectacle, but it's more grounded than the other ones, right?
Oh,
like,
totally.
Like, and we've said this, he gets shot and you feel like, oh, he might die.
Yeah.
You could throw John Wick off of the Empire State Building and he's fine in number 4. I mean, the absolutely hilarious scene of him falling down those stairs.
Oh my God, bro.
The best.
They came up with bulletproof suit coats, bro. That's what they did. We're in Fast and Furious territory, aren't we?
No, I know, but can you pull that back? Because I think that
I hope so.
those 4. I'd like, it'd be great if that's how they reset it, and like almost the opposite of what Fast and the Furious did. By the time they got to 4 and 5, they went away from like the Point Break street racing type thing and said, let's just go balls to the wall, over the top superhero type stuff now, and it worked for them. Maybe the opposite. Maybe go to a 5th one and spend $80 million on it, $70 million, and do something small again, like something like you did, like makes it feel like the first one all over again. I feel like that's where very relevant to the conversation we were just having with Brian Cox. It's like, well, we've gone so high, we've gone up to this. Can we go back down? Yeah, you can. Do a good story.
Someone suggested something on internet, on Twitter rather, or on X, whatever you want to call it this week. And I was like, if they could make that work. Remember years ago, or they wanted to cross over Men in Black with 21 Jump Street. I saw someone suggest a John Wick Equalizer crossover where it's Denzel and John Wick, and they've literally been working in essence under the same kind of situation.
They both are they both
either just mix the worlds together somehow where they were coming.
But are they both Lionsgate? I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I think one's Lionsgate and one is Universal.
Well, look, I mean, Spider-Man was Sony. Why don't we work out a deal and loan Equalizer over to John Wick? I'd be down.
That's the problem you get into, because then when you have a Spider-Man, this is relevant again to the conversation. When you have Sony and you have Marvel and you have that deal sit down, someone in that conversation at some point goes, okay, well, this is going to cost us both a lot of money in order to do this.
Yeah.
And we're both risking a lot of money here. Do we think that these movies can make this amount of money in order to pay you, pay me, pay the theaters, pay them, pay that? And the answer was yes, because you had Spider-Man in it, and you had Spider-Man involved, and you Spider-Man running around with Iron Man. Then yeah, so that got people into the theater. Is there enough of a risk between Lionsgate and Universal to put Denzel and John Wick together? I don't know. In Deadpool and Wolverine, they were able to buy him from Fox, so that clearly worked. But I mean, I'll tell you what would have worked back in the day that would have made a lot of money but they never could have done it. Arnold and Sly doing a movie back together back in the late 80s, 90s.
100%.
If they could have gotten past their egos, that movie would have probably been one of the biggest action movies of all time. Because look what Expendables did when they were barely could walk.
Yeah.
Like this now, you would have had, like,
you said that, I did.
Come on, John Matrix and John Rambo together in a movie. Oh come on,
good night. Come on.
I mean, look out AI, because that's what's going to happen. When people are going to start doing AI movies, you're going to have John Matrix and Rambo doing their own thing. Come on, Rambo, do something. Don't say anything. Use the explosive arrows, blow up something. Come on. Stop grunting. I need a sandwich. Johnny.
They drew first blood.
Yeah.
They drew first blood.
so
$50 billion that movie.
Yeah. I'm on board. I'm on board. But yeah. So anyway, I mean, it's John Wick, whether it comes out, and I think that the point that they made about branching the TV show makes sense. I'll tell you what I took the most out of all.
Okay.
It's Highlander.
Yeah.
I want to see his version of Highlander. I'm excited about. I want to see him go.
Right? I think it's Cavill who's doing that.
I think it is Cavill, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see. But I want to see. But it's Stileski who's directing.
Yeah. No, totally.
I want to see his version of. I want to see what he's able to pull off with that because, there's only really been one good movie, Highlander, right?
Well, there is only one. Yes, only one good movie, and it wasn't even. Never mind. Don't get me started.
What?
I think that's one of those 80s nostalgia schlock fests that some of you all love that I grew up in that decade and did not like and have never liked, but I know people love it. So
the first movie's pretty good.
I'm not a Highlander person, but I know people are. So
that's fine. I don't like the Goonies. Unbelievable.
I mean, come on.
It's a great movie.
I like good movies. You know that.
Oh, stop this. All right. So we're gonna get to the questions now. And you guys see you guys putting a bunch of questions and very thankful for that. I'm gonna get to those. But before I do, I want to tell you I've told you guys so much more about both Liquid IV. And if you're not trying Joy Mode yet, well, that's on you. Joy Mode is my favorite. I love Joy Mode. But both Liquid IV and Joy Mode. Here you go. I was having a barbecue with the family, and I was gonna go and went to pick up some games for the kids to play, and I was picking up cornhole. And while I was at the sports store getting it, kept seeing Liquid IV, and more I'm so excited that people are learning about Liquid IV because I've known about them now for a bit since they've been on the show. It's the summer. The summer is thick right now, and your favorite summer treat could be giving you extraordinary hydration. Liquid IV has refreshing summer flavors like popsicle firecracker, it's got rainbow sherbet. It hits the spot when you need transformative, hydrating relief all summer long. So I really do enjoy it. It's been nice to have it. I moved and I live in a very humid area now, and it's great to have Liquid IV. It really is. And I love this popsicle one, so I'm showing it right now. So what you want to do is they have so many different flavors too that makes it just really, really fresh. And you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors. They have raspberry melon, they have white peach, they have green grape. It's great. You can go to the website and you can find all of it. It keeps your wellness rituals fresh and it keeps you motivated, keeps you hydrated. So what you want to do is you want to tear, pour, live more. One stick, 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It's powered by LIV Hydroscience, which is an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. It's got 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. So indulge in hydration this summer with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV, but you got to use liquidiv.com and use the code BIGTHING at checkout. You get 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today. Use that promo code BIGTHING at liquidiv.com. All right. You know as well as I do, you've been standing at that gas station, you look over and you go, oh, sexual pills. I'm going to try one of those. Don't do it. They are not good over there. Not healthy. But Joy Mode is. What is Joy Mode? When you go to the gym and you take something to help you with your workout, it's the same thing with Joy Mode. It's a sexual enhancement performer, man. It's amazing, and it works. The issue is that over-the-counter pill, it contains unregulated chemicals, it suggests unsafe doses, and it includes the risk of several other health problems. That is why we are partnered with our friends over at Joy Mode. I tried it, and man, oh man, it just makes you feel good. It's that extra pep. It's not necessarily a step, but you get what I'm talking about. Whether you're looking to spice up your intimate moments or increase your confidence in the bedroom, Joy Mode makes all natural and science-backed supplements dedicated to helping men perform better across their core functions. Their trademark product, the Sexual Performance Booster, it's every man's solution for increased blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance. It comes in a palm-sized packet like your favorite electrolyte powder. Simply mix 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before sexual activity and watch the magic unfold. Literally. Redefine your intimacy and go to usejoymode.com for 20% off with the code BIGTHING. Appropriate. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code BIGTHING at usejoymode.com. Ingredients with integrity. Joy Mode. All right. Thank you to both Joy Mode and Liquid IV. As I say, not only can you get both if you go to the link in the description, I always ask you guys, hey, click on those links. Browse around. Just do that right now. You're watching live. Browse around. All right, dummy, stop asking me. Click on that link. That's all I'm asking. Go ahead. All right. John, we got some more questions. We got a lot of questions for us here today. And
Joy Mode, baby. Joy Mode. Yo.
You know what's hilarious is now, because people know my friends will come over and they'll be like, Hey, you got any more of that? Yeah, joy mode. It's the best. It is. I'm telling you, joy mode. Say use the code, you cheap bastards. Mike Joyce.
Yeah.
I caught up on all the Alien movies I missed this weekend, and I ended up really enjoying Alien Resurrection. Why is it so poorly thought of? Well, I mean, I don't have a great answer for that because I can only really remember Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, like I mentioned Sam, my friend Sam, and I said, "Have you seen Aliens?" And she's like, "I don't think so." She's like, "I've seen the first one." So I'm like, "Oh, see, Sam's gonna be a gold mine." Someone said, like, "Oh, I want to see you do with your wife. I don't know about the other ones though." I'm like, "You haven't met them. you gotta meet them. You gotta meet Sam's hilarious." Oh, and you're gonna like it. 3 out of the 4 spicy Latinas.
Wow, she's a Latina. Nice.
Sam's Puerto Rican. Yeah,
get ready.
Alex is half Puerto Rican.
Nice.
Tina's Colombian.
Nice, even better. South American, respect.
Yeah. So and Matt's Italian. Matt's gonna be hilarious on this. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know enough about that movie to remember.
Let me take this one. I'll tell you exactly what the problem is.
Yes.
That's a European approach to an Alien movie that American audiences didn't like. I like Alien Resurrection. It's directed by Phil Janot, who did City of Lost Children. I think the same director. It's a French approach to Alien, and I
on a Rider one.
The approach, yeah, the one on a Rider one,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so I get the ending pissed some people off. I totally understand. It's really weird, but I thought it was an interesting way to take the franchise. So I think all of these films have taken huge swings in different ways. Whether they've worked or not overall, I think is a matter of subjectivity. But I think overall, they've been interesting in the way they've explored the franchise. So I've never not like enjoyed an Alien movie. I think Alien Covenant is the closest I came to not enjoying an Alien movie, but it still has some good scenes in it. But overall, I think every one of those films is rewatchable for sure.
Yeah, they kind of blend together for me for the most part, except for the first two. All right. So Mike Joyce follows this up with, who's an actor that you actively avoid watching? After Alien 4 and Night at the Roxbury, I realized I do not like Daniel Hedaya at all.
Mike, what's your problem?
Well, I mean, that's a question for me that probably would, as someone pops up in the next couple of months, I'm like, oh, I should have told Mike that one. But I wouldn't say I actively avoid anybody. There's sometimes when I'll be watching, I'm like, all right, here you go. I'll tell you who I used to feel like when someone used to pop up and I'd be like, great, so and so, what's the pretty face? What's our boy from Oppenheimer is in this Shyamalan movie? Trap.
Cillian Murphy?
Oh, Trap.
Josh Hartnett. Yeah.
Josh Hartnett. So when he first hit the scene, like Pearl Harbor and all this, I'm like, come on with this guy, he's fantastic. He's fantastic now, and he popped up in The Bear briefly too.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, popped up in The Bear.
I think it's I don't agree with you, Dan Hedaya. Dan Hedaya is one of the best character actors ever.
Mike Dan Hedaya also Clueless, right?
Yeah, Clueless. He played Richard Nixon in Dick. He's also
in Commando.
Yeah, he's in Commando. He's also one of my favorite. He's also part of one of my favorite movies from the 80s, Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines. No one talked about that movie.
Oh,
he is great as the captain of the chief of detectives. He's great.
I love Mike. I'm with you, Roke. Strong disagree on Dan Hedaya.
Yeah.
Dan Hedaya is great.
The best. Plus, he was Carla's ex-husband on Cheers. For those who remember that,
there'll be no besmirching the good name of Dan Hedaya.
Dan Hedaya here.
No. Pete Parker, 2288. Watching Romulus made me realize what a missed opportunity it was not casting Spaney as Ellie in The Last of Us. Yeah, she looks like her and a great actress. Maybe so. I mean, we haven't seen. Oh, you're saying as Ellie in
the main. Yeah.
The main. I mean, look, she's who they got is pretty damn good. But
I will heal no besmirching of Bella Ramsey here. Olivia Fair Lake. I will heal no besmirching of her.
But she does. I mean, I am becoming a really big Kaylee Spaney fan, though.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that because she was great in Civil War.
Yes,
great in this. She's a very subtle actress, and she's going to leave her in this role. There are a lot of times, sometimes when people are in roles like this, and they're just trying to be either tough or they're trying to be, too cool for school, and that didn't read at all for this. The movie had to be carried on her overall journey, and it worked.
This girl is in her 20s, early 20s.
She's really good. She's
fantastic as Priscilla Presley as well in that Priscilla.
I know. I didn't see that movie.
So good in that. And She's becoming like our answer to Florence Pugh. Like she's becoming this unnaturally gifted American actress to counter the British actress of Florence Pugh. She's unnaturally gifted, Florence Pugh.
That is, yeah. I you know what's so funny about this is that this is probably the hot take that I have.
Okay.
I'm not on the Florence Pugh train. I know. I'm not on the train. I think she's good. I think she's a good actress, but everyone loses their mind over her. Yeah, she's fine. She's fine. I thought she was good in Little Women.
I think you just answered Mike Joyce's question.
Yeah. Well, no, because actively avoiding is like, oh, here she is again. No, I think I'll tell you my wife is starting to feel that way about Glenn Powell. Oh my God,
he's getting a little too much. Yeah, I agree.
He's all over the place. That's what Hollywood does. I don't know if it's his fault. But here's the difference. Here's the difference, though, is that sometimes what they do is they jam people down your throats right away. And there's people the movies aren't doing good. Like, no, I promise he's a star. He's just, look at Sam Worthington. Here he is. Tag him. And you're like, I don't know who Sam Worthington is. Tag him. And they did that like with a bunch of different people. His movies are making money.
Yeah. Eric Bana, Josh Lucas. There's a lot of people they tried to make but the next big thing, and it didn't work out.
Powell is making money. Glenn Powell did it. We just mentioned that Anyone But You movie did very well. Top Gun Maverick, the Hitman movie was critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
he's like, there is the media who's just like, he's your next star, and that's like, pull back a little bit, pull back just a little bit, and don't overuse the guy. Because you should see my wife because she didn't know he was in. We watched Twisters, and that's one I wish that we were watching because I didn't tell her who was in it. She's like, this guy again? That's what she says. I'm like, he's good in it. Give him a break. He's really good in that movie.
He is good.
You didn't like the movie, though.
I did not like the movie, but he was good in the movie.
Yeah. She's good, too, that girl.
Oh, yeah. Daisy has always been good. Yeah. Yeah.
Pete Parker, can you guys rank the Alien films, including AVP? I wouldn't be able to do it justice, Pete. I'll give you Aliens, Alien. That's all. And then, Aliens, Alien, and as much as I like it, Alien Romulus will be.
I would say, Alien, Aliens, Alien Romulus, and then the rest are battling for the lower positions.
Yeah, because I can't bring them up in my memory enough to do that list justice.
I put Coven at the bottom for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I did see this. I wish we would have covered this today. We'll cover it right now. Right. Johnny Venerable. Tamora Morrison says that Boba Fett will not appear in the Mandalorian movie, stating that Boba Fett may have impacted the book of Boba Fett, rather, may have impacted the character's future. How is that his fault? It's not his fault, but that's what they do. They basically say, well, the audience didn't like it, so it's your fault. They don't blame it on themselves. So Lucasfilm does famously. They do that very, very well. And you go back, you look at old interviews with Tamora Morrison. He's like, I'm talking too much. I shouldn't be talking. I got to keep the mystery of the character. I'm talking too much. This is not what the character. This isn't the. He seems to be the only one who knew the essence of the Boba Fett character. Yeah. Everybody else, he's like, I am Boba Fett. Yeah, we know that. Stop saying that. Every time you get into a situation, I am Boba Fett. Cut it out. Fight.
Who knew that this guy, who's been in the Star Wars universe for decades, before the people who bought Star Wars, knew exactly what to do with a character that he played the father of, and then eventually played the son, right? Boba Fett. So, like, they didn't listen to him, and he was very clear about it. I know that he wanted to do a man with no name type approach to Boba Fett. Yeah. And they didn't want to do that. They wanted to Disneyfy their approach to it and make it more, talkative and accessible and go for those rousing moments. And that is not what Boba Fett should have been. Again, another series that should have been more like Andor, but it was much too much like a young adult series.
And that's fine though, if you're going to pitch it that way. But when you're pitching it like it's the Godfather of the Star Wars series, you better deliver and not give me, I am Boba Fett.
Give me the Jolly Rancher gang.
Oh my God, not good. Matt Sinister McCall, the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. What the hell kind of title is that? Your take, how many F-bombs should a PG-13 movie have? I would probably say, I think what they have, one or two is fine for that, and I say that more so as a dad at this point. So you don't want to be like, one or two popping in there is fine by me. What do you think, John?
Well, first of all, the first part of your question, yes, a long title, but an excellent Western. One of the best Westerns, I think, of the last 30 years.
I've seen it. Oh, I know.
But it's one of Brad Pitt's greatest performances, and Casey Affleck is incredible in that film. But the second part of your question, I hear what you're saying. I understand I hear what you're putting down on that.
Throwing down. All right. Roman, Fedora, Hey Christian, I saw Romulus on Saturday at a drive-in. That's cool. That's a fun way to see that.
Ooh, yeah.
A fun way to see that movie. Really enjoyed it. In complete agreement, give Fede a Terminator movie that is action horror. That's what I've been saying that, John. I think that if they steal kind of what he's been doing and they are able to give Fede Alvarez a $50 million, $60 million Terminator movie, small scale. I mean, what do you use? Like 3 or 4 locations in Alien? I mean, come on, do that.
He's already shown you can play in 2 separate franchises with an Evil Dead remake and this one, and both of them are well liked. So I agree.
I would love to see that. Oh, I'd love to see that. Mezapa. Hey, Christian and Roka. All right, hear me now. Hear me out. Live action remake of Brave Little Toaster. Any thoughts? I don't think you're crazy for that. I mean, look, right now they're remaking where they're doing live action to a lot of different animated movies. I'd actually like to see them do a live action version of the damn Transformers movie. Like the
original.
The best Transformers movie, the 1986 animated movie, like an actual live action version of that. Let me see that.
I want to see Optimus die in live action.
I want to see all of it. Rodimus Prime, give me Ultra Magnus, give me the whole shebang.
Who's going to do justice to Scatman Crothers? Who's going to do justice to that voice?
Which one did he do?
Jazz. Come on.
Oh, he did Jazz, right? And then,
hey man, I don't know if we get anybody.
Orson Welles did Unicron.
Yeah, he did.
Hilarious. So yeah, I mean, Little Toaster, sure. I mean, like you can take shot at all these things. Depends on, I don't know which studio owns the rights to that one, but I go back to the thing, and this is in bringing up Terminator, bringing up all these things. What you will hardly get from me ever is no, they shouldn't make that movie because, well, just let the franchise die. I've heard many people say that, no matter what it is. No, don't make a remake of that. No, it doesn't need to be made. Look, there's a chance that anytime you remake something, anytime that you do this, it could be a disaster. But you can also, Alien Romulus could have been a complete fart.
Yeah.
Like, and in the way that the last Shane Black Predator movie was. And it's just a matter of the story you are telling. Anything anytime someone was, no, let it rest. It's over. They can't figure it out. No, the people who came before couldn't figure it out. There's somebody out there that can figure it out. The question is, can you find that person?
That's a good point. Yeah.
All right. Fuzzy Bubbles had a thought. When you start the movie rewatches, how about a retro movie day like Gleaming the Cube or any 80s movie? Well, here's the thing. You guys got to watch them, because it's going to cost money for me to get the people in here. It's going to make sure that, if I'm putting the time and effort, it's going to be like a good 3 hours out of the day that I'm taking a shot with these things. So I would look, if I put out a you don't understand how happy I would be if I did a Gleaming the Cube reaction and 100,000 people watch it. Do you understand? For so many different reasons. One, obviously it's a success on the channel. 2, 100,000 people are going to get introduced to Gleaming the Cube. But let's be realistic. I put out a Gleaming the Cube movie reaction. I don't care who is on them with me. Nobody's watching. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yes. You just got to know what your audience is with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I would love that. I would love that so much. I would love that.
And no offense. I mean, I think the suggestions always come from a good place because you personally want to see that, but you got to look on YouTube and see what's really capturing people's attentions when you do retro stuff, because it can't just be anything you want to do. You have to be.
I wish it was.
I agree.
I would show. I mean, do you know how much money I would pay to get my wife to watch Rad with me?
Rad.
Hell yeah. She wouldn't be able. It would be hilarious because she would be like, "Why are you making me watch this?" And if it was worth it, then I know, like, well, yeah, I'm going to make you watch it because I know people are going to want to watch you watch this. But they won't. They won't click on Rad. I wish.
True.
It's a me, Steve-O. Which actors do you want working together? Do you know, by the way, that he doesn't even say it's a me, Mario? That's not what he says.
Of course.
I thought everyone was, it's a me, Mario. It's not what he says. It's like it's Sumi or something. That's like that's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Mine is Leo and Denzel in a crime drama. That's pretty good. I like that. Also, do you think some actors avoid each other working in films? Yeah, of course. I'm sure. I mean, we just mentioned Arnold and Sly. They mentioned they totally avoided each other back in the day, and they both realized that had they not, and they made a movie together and figured out a way to done it, they probably would have made a lot more together. But are there two people I'd like to see team up right now? You got somebody?
Florence Pugh and Kaylee Spain.
It's a good one. Look, I don't dislike her. I'm just saying that there's a certain hype behind her right now that I'm just like, and it's not even necessarily the hype behind it. Like, I think she's an attractive woman, but people lose their minds over how attractive she thinks she is. I'm like, she's pretty,
bro. She's hot. She's hotter than Julia Roberts.
You're out of your mind.
You're out of your mind.
And in their primes,
yeah,
in their prime,
100%.
You're a lunatic. You're a lunatic.
Just like those big mouth girls.
You are a lunatic. You're a lunatic. And 22-year-old Julia Roberts makes her look like something you find in the bottom of the ocean.
Please, I could find 22-year-old Julia Roberts on any college campus. Get out of here.
You're a lunatic. You're a lunatic. Carlton Rudder, London Calling. Which movie do you predict earning more Beetlejuice or Mufasa? John, great Cinephiles episode of Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Mufasa wins that fight easily, hands down. Box office wise, hands down. Oh, come on. Do you want to be doing another one here?
No, we're not doing any more bets.
I'm telling you what I want to see more is Beetlejuice Part 2. There's no doubt about it. You're talking it, John.
I know it's a kids movie versus.
It's not even that. It's a December release. It's a sequel to or prequel to one of the biggest, not only biggest animated movies, probably the biggest conversion movie, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It's. I mean, that last one made $1 billion. It's not even a contest.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Yeah. But don't be surprised if Beetlejuice wins that in the long run.
No, I would be very surprised. There's no world where it even comes close. Okay, next one. Yeah. Fuzzy Bubbles. Do you think Beetlejuice do a bill? No. Oh, no way. No world. No. I'd be lucky if it does I think between 400 and 500.
500 to 700 is an uber success for that film.
There's no world that it makes over. No way. Let's see. So next one, Random Pat. A Random Pat. Do you think a Deadpool 4 is on the table? Would you like to see it? Or would you rather just see him show up in a supporting role going forward? What I'd rather see is him in a supporting role going forward. They are going to be complete lunatics if they don't go for a fourth one, because this one made one point. It makes more money every time it goes out into the theater. They'll definitely do a fourth one.
What I don't want to do, and I know Ryan Reynolds' ego is going to want to do this, is have Deadpool show up in a bunch of films. I don't want that to happen. I don't want him to become the new Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I really don't want that, but don't be surprised if that's what happens, because when you make $1 billion in 2 weeks, you got a lot of cachet with Marvel.
You do.
But a Deadpool 4 absolutely is going to happen for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It should. Business-wise, it should happen.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Chilling in the basement. A lot of new people here today. Yeah. I love it. Thank you for all the new peeps, and obviously thank you to all the old peeps too, but a lot of new usernames in here. Chilling in the basement. I think that this battle was Friedman's idea in the first place. If true, I wonder what Friedman thinks he has that could make Disney back off. And I'm assuming he's talking here about the Beau DeMayo stuff.
Oh yeah, the Beau DeMayo thing. Yeah.
Because Friedman is his. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be something, but maybe there's like a settlement or something, whatever it could be. But it right now, odds are in Disney's court. I would assume.
I think that's what come out.
Yeah. Random Pat. Would you like to see the MCU X-Men begin with the OG5, Cyclops, Beast, Iceman, Angel, and Jean as teenagers and show the true origin of the X-Men? It'd be ballsy if they could do it that way. Be interesting. I still think that the X-Men are the future of the MCU in general. I think that you start the first thing you can get away with, because it's the X-Men, is the first thing you do is an X-Men movie. And then from the X-Men movie, then you start to do single X-Men movies, then to do an X-Men 2 movie in the same vein of Avengers. Then you do, more single movies than an X-Men 3 or whatever it is, 2, 3, and you just build it out. And because you can build out the characters the same way. You don't have to do, these little side, this comic book that we liked back in the day, and maybe we can turn that into a movie now. It's like, now focus on the X-Men. They'll provide box office and good movies for at least the next 10 years.
Yeah, I agreed. I think I don't know if I want to see an origin. I think it could be like Spider-Man. Like, he was already fully formed
right
when we met him in I think Civil War. So why do you need to do a fully? Everybody knows the X-Men origin, for God's sakes. Why start there? It limits you too, because you go, okay, we got to lay the groundwork. We got to meet everybody. We got to see their interactions. you have to bring in Magneto, and it's like, so.
Yeah. All right, John, before we move on, go ahead and give the people some breakdown here, man. What's going on this week on the channel? What's new? What's the haps?
We got a lot going on over on the Outlaw Nation. Head on over there. Outlaw Nation for now. Changes are coming to that channel.
Oh, man.
Name changes coming. Certain things are happening on that channel that will be changing. Background's going to be changed. A lot of changes coming to the channel. But for now, you can hang out there and hang out with us there on the Outlaw Nation, youtube.com/John Roca Says. We're going to do a live show tonight at 6 p.m. with our friend Eric Rogers, who's animation showrunner, currently has Angry Birds Mystery Island on Prime Video, doing gangbusters. So he's going to hang out with us for an hour. And then we've got Hot Mic coming up in a couple of, on Thursday at 4 p.m. PT. Jedi Ways coming out this week. Some more Geek Buddy stuff, my stuff. There's a lot happening. And Spill the Tequila. Hopefully Winston and I can line up another one there this week as well. And as Carlton Rudder mentioned, we just did part 1 of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid on my podcast, The Cinephiles. So come and hang out with us there. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Go check that out. Galaghost. Hey, fellas. Football as well. What's up, buddy? Have you had a movie or TV that you loved, but creator turned out to be a shit? And did that affect your enjoyment retroactively? Cheers. I mean, yeah. I mean, sure. There's tons. I mean, it's hard for me to watch Usual Suspects. You know, but I'm not going to stop watching it in the same way that I had the conversation. Like, I had this whole conversation with Roxy. You know, it's very hard for her. Like when I have Braveheart on my wall, and she's not a fan of Mel Gibson, obviously. So it's like it's tough. You got to separate people. But I'm not going to stop watching certain movies, though. You know what I mean? Like there is. I will say there's one person I've had my own personal issues with that would turn up in a Marvel show one time. Yeah. I just actively boo him when he's on and talk about how excited I am when his character does stupid things. So
you don't want to say who it is? Okay, fine.
I'll tell you off air. But it was I would say it was a recent show, and every time he was on there doing something, I was like, oh, good, do something stupid again. Terrible character. Terrible.
I think Cosby is a big one for me because I love the Cosby Show, man, and I still go back and I still listen to sometimes some of his stand up because it's just like that's my childhood, bro. So it's really hard to do that. But yeah, Bryan Singer is a big one for sure. Yeah, I have a tough time watching Usual Suspects now, but it's still so damn good.
Not even Bryan Singer. I was going by Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah, Spacey too. For me, it's more Singer. I mean, Spacey's. I don't know. Spacey's. It's weird the thing with Spacey, but Singer's much more for me. Much.
Yeah. Overall, though, it's like that's why for me, I am able to maybe more so. I've gotten people telling me, "How do you watch this?" I'm like, "You don't watch it. You don't tell me not to watch this." Like I'm not. You asking me the conversation of what the particular person did.
Yeah.
That's another conversation we can have. But whether or not I'm going to stop watching them, like, what was the one thing?
Everyone's subjective.
When all the Flash stuff was going on.
Yeah.
Right? We don't support that. It means you support Ezra Miller. It's like, no, it means that I want to go see the movie. Yeah. And I want to, and also, as far as I know, Ezra Miller didn't direct it. Ezra Miller didn't put the Batman suit back on. Ezra Miller wasn't trying to get the start as Supergirl. Ezra Miller wasn't working every day, being away from their family to make sure they could do PA stuff or be director of photography. So just because one person does something doesn't mean, I can't watch that movie. I was like, no, that's not how it works for me. You can choose that, and that's fair. I don't want to see it because I don't want to see that person on screen.
Well, no one's pure because all the people telling you that probably have a bunch of Weinstein movies in their collection. And if you're going to go out, you don't get to choose. If you're going to go down that road, you don't get to choose where you stop. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're going to be purely about telling people you can't watch any problematic for anything from problematic people, you got to go all the way out to producer, director, even studio head. So, you can't just pick and choose. So judging other people is ridiculous on that.
But I'll never say if somebody said, I can't go see that movie.
Right.
I don't want to support Ezra Miller. I said, that's your prerogative. You absolutely do that. And I'm not
on me.
Suck it up and go see it because other people worked on it. I'm not going to say that, but don't tell me I can't see it. Stick it up your ass. All right, here we go.
We worked that out.
Yes, boy. Have you all seen clips of Dom on Logan Paul's podcast?
Yes.
I can't believe how much I've come around on him. Him grilling Logan about visiting Japan was gold. I didn't see that.
Dude.
But all right. So what I did see, is it and you tell me because you watched the interview.
Okay.
Did it seem like Dom doesn't like him really?
No, it was more a I mean,
because here's why, before you get
sure.
The clip I saw was him Logan Paul asking something like, "Does your wife F with Rhea?" And Dom goes, "What do you mean?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" And then he's like, "Oh no, I mean because of this, and this." So I didn't. What did he ask him about Japan?
Well, he said, "Are you going to go to Japan?" And he's like, and everyone on the podcast was like, "Oh," like I didn't know if they expected him to ask him that, but Logan got all emotional about it, and he said, "Well, I want to be asked back." And he goes, "Well, yeah." And he started bringing up what happened on that video, and then said, well, "You could wear the hat, like you'd wear," which is the hat, of course, that he wore. And so that I could not believe Dom went that far with him, but Logan was like supreme, unless it was at work. Logan was supremely upset and pissed about it, which I thought
he was mad at him that he brought it up.
Yeah. He was like, he started crying. Like it was a weird kind of reaction to Dom's thing.
Wow. I do like Dom a lot, though. I really
Me too, bro. I'm coming around him. I'm telling you right now, he will be the champion one day. He will absolutely wear the belt.
Maybe. You know why? Because he puts in the work. He's a worker. He understands the business, obviously, from his family in general. He is putting together some of the. He's already been part of some great storylines. Kid knows how to get heat. He's one of these guys, though, that eventually, the conversations like this, it's going to be hard to get him heat. They're going to start cheering.
They're going to turn. 100%. The turn is coming.
They're going to start cheering him because it's only like, look at Rhea. They tried to keep her as in heel, and they're like, no, we're gonna have that Dom turn on you because no one's gonna boo you,
right?
No one's gonna boo you. You're just everybody loves her. So
I don't think he'll be as legendary as his dad, but I think he's gonna win more titles than his dad did. I just have a feeling.
Interesting. All right, next one. Galagos. Can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies. Beau DeMayo's Wayland Android. Yeah, for real. It's gonna be interesting to see how that all lands. Mad Sinister McCall, per Beth Snyder. Beau originally fought Don Cheadle over missing eye contact and earmuffs. Also ate Filoni's leftover mac and cheese from employee fridge. I gotta find out. I'm now convinced that Mad Sinister McCall is like Ken Knapsack. Like he's always got like that one line that comes out.
He started popping up on Hot Mic, and he's coming after Jeff. And Jeff's loving the counter.
Jeff's got a great sense of humor. But people don't realize that about Jeff. They think he's like he just got a great sense of humor.
He does. Yeah.
Fuzzy Bubbles. John blocked a reported Dallas after his first calm.
I can't block anyone.
What does that mean?
Christian runs the channel. I don't block anybody.
Reported Dallas. Oh, after his first comments. I see. I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Nobody blocked anybody.
I didn't see it.
Patriotic child. Good. Yeah.
The reason you owe me a steak dinner, Darth Vader's burnt asshole, who was also wrong, might I say?
Yeah, true.
But as he gives us a very generous super chat, I call him wrong. Flipping, I love Alien Romulus. While I do understand some of the fan service, the return of that character, for instance, but other just feels silly. I like being upset that Harry Potter goes to Hogwarts each book. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. I think people sometimes, John and I have talked about this many times, is that sometimes critics in general just feel the need like, oh, I don't really know what to say about it, so I'm gonna say this instead. And I'm gonna like, we have talked about it many times over. We're both big fans of both Whitney Seibold and Bibbs.
Yeah. But
they tweet to get reactions out of you. Someone the other day said something along the lines of about the Alien movies, about I don't necessarily think Aliens is better than the first. And Whitney's like, I'll tell you what, 1 and 2 aren't even the best in the franchise. I'm like, get out of here. Come on. What are you doing? And it's just like, because he said they're not, he's definitively saying it. It's like, start with this. I'll help you out. Start with, I think, in my opinion, that they're not the best. I don't even like the first 2 as the best. I have these instead, but definitively saying they're not. You're wrong. It's like, cut it out. As a critic, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. It's like you can't tell people what's right. That was the problem with the written critic in general. The written critic for a long time, and I believe that's why the print critic has been overshadowed by the video critic and influencers and everything too. Because the print critic comes off like an elitist, always has from the second, and not everyone is, but they do come off that way. And when you say things definitively, like, nope, it's not the best, you're wrong. It's like that. When you have that opinion, you are going to make people say, well, I'm going to TikTok to find somebody that I can relate to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the print critic served its purpose for many decades for helping guide us to great films, right? A lot of us who love film relied on the print critic to guide us there. But over the last few years, we've seen print critics abuse their status to willfully destroy directors or films without factoring in the audience and deliver a critique that is condescending and dismissive. And it's frustrating when you get to that situation. There's a difference between defending your opinion and scoffing at the people questioning.
Or stating it as fact.
Yeah, or stating as fact.
That's the thing that gets me. It's like I'm and I say that to people when they're commenting.
Yeah.
Like when they say like, no, this is it's like, start with, I don't agree, and I'll tell you why. In my opinion, then that's it. Then it's a cordial conversation, and it's someone that I'll read. If someone says like, people normally say that Alien and Aliens are the best of the franchise.
Yeah.
After doing a rewatch, I have a different opinion. I actually think that these were the ones that are the best on the list, and here's why. I'm going, oh, this is an interesting take. I might not agree with it, but don't tell me that I'm wrong, because you don't know that. It's a movie. Drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Ewok, thoughts on Colin Firth joining Spielberg's UFO movie? I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I watched Alien Romulus, and I was very impressed by David Johnson's performance. He was fantastic, and I wish I could dive into it a little bit more about what he did so well, but it like dives into spoiler stuff
for sure.
But he did really good. Colin Firth joining. For running the channel that I have for the UAP stuff, I'm in a very different spot with it than like say John is, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm hoping that they're actually going to start putting real events that are happening within the government and the stuff with what Schumer and Rounds and all these people are trying to do right now to bring awareness to this, and he basically makes the post for this subject matter. That's what I'm hoping. I don't need to see another War of the Worlds. I mean, that's not something that but then the person who's going to go see it in a summer movie wants Spielberg UFOs. Oh, I want to see another ET movie.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's more a matter of this is a great choice. Colin Firth is a fantastic actor, and you bring some real gravitas to the film by having actors like this be a part of it. So there's more weight already in your mind of what this film is going to be about with someone like Colin Firth attached. Christian, did you see the UFO sighting in California? Is that crap? Was it crap?
It was a drone.
It was a drone?
That's what's been that particular one.
I didn't mess with me. I want to see a live one.
With those lights in general, from what they were saying, is a drone. I mean, look, there's one of those. There's always the answer of like that's what the standard answer is. What was a drone? It was a balloon, but this one seemed to be an actual drone itself. But who knows? But I did see those. I didn't report on that one because I did a little bit more looking into it. It looked like it was a drone, but who knows? Who knows? Fuzzy Bubbles, context only. Fuzzy Bubbles, formerly Bill Gaffney. Hey, Bill. All right, let's see. Next one, and this is, and we got some more in here. Like I said, we'll be here until the very last one. So if you want to throw some more questions before John are out, throw them in there. Okay, let's see. The next question here, John, is from. I'm waiting. Maybe that was it. Is that it? No, I got one. Okay, Jim 1. 20 years ago, dramas like Perfect Storm and Castaway were top 10 movies. The need to appeal to international audiences like China led to more franchise movies. That's also very true. It's also very true. But it also with budgets and with that what they're trying to accomplish. And don't forget streaming. With streaming, with so much more material, and the idea that now you don't have to go out if you want to find something. Like there are tons of shows that if I wasn't doing this and I wasn't seeing movies, and you were like, "Hey, you want to go to the movies tonight?" I'm like, well, I still haven't seen all of The Boys. I have one episode left of The Bear. I have I have a bunch of things that I could watch right now. I'll wait until it comes out. It'll be out. I got a good TV. I got good surround sound. I'm all right. So and unless it's something I really got to see in the theater. So it's a different time.
Yeah, and also it wasn't just the China thing. It was that audiences that enjoyed that at the time in their 20s and 30s are now 50s and 60s. And the audience that came up behind them doesn't necessarily look for those kinds of things. So it's different now. The audience you cater to now between the 20 and 30 range is completely different than the audience that was back then. So tastes change. And like everything, because people watching Perfect Storm and whatever, those people that were in their 50s and 60s when those films came out were watching different type of films in 20s and 30s. So it's always a transition in progress. I don't know why people think film was just invented 10 years ago. Like, it's always the same thing. Tastes change, and people could go back to the Westerns times and be like, too many Westerns. There were Westerns all the time back then. People don't remember people because they weren't alive. They don't remember that. So yeah. A lot of your film history, man.
Bam 86. The reason Star Wars has sucked a lot and they don't go the direction of Andor is because they are trying to figure out a formula that can easily be duplicated at infinitum. Disney's all about formulas. Yeah, I mean, look, this is where I say, look, Disney has part to blame in it. But anytime someone writes that, I go, don't write Disney first. I'm going to rewrite that ending for you and say that Lucasfilm is all about formulas, because Disney's also responsible for Deadpool and Wolverine. Disney's also responsible for, Inside Out 2.
Alien Romulus
under
the umbrella. Yeah.
Right. So they're all responsible. The Disney's responsible for that too. But you don't give Disney the credit for making Romulus good. You give Fede Alvarez and the company that put it together the credit for doing it. Now, Disney also probably had notes and other things too, but you're not wrong when it comes to the formula side of it. John and I talk about all the time. Andor is not loved over there in a way that it looks like it's an old school Star Wars show. It's not. It's to them. And it's also overshadowed the other stuff that they wanted to do as far as quality. Yeah. So it's just we're broken record here, John. That it's like it needs to be, the whole thing just needs to be gutted.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I come around on that opinion, by the way, and I agree with you. Yeah.
God bless you on how you're still doing a freaking Star Wars show weekly. I don't know how you do it. How do you do it? How do you A, stay motivated to want to try to do it? B, find enough news that's worth a damn.
I think it's having two people who love it so much in Laura and Kevin that we
Kevin's
do it.
just as frustrated as you and I are.
I know, but it's fun discussions.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's not easy, but you're right. It's not easy.
Luke Skywalker, there he is.
Hey.
How about Fede Alvarez directing a Star Wars movie?
Good luck.
Not in this current. I'd rather see his talents go somewhere else right now.
Great point. Isn't that crazy? That's actually a really good point, Christian. You're like, I don't want good directors going anymore over there because their stuff gets diluted.
They're not taken seriously in the same way. They're kind of like, here, do this, cut this down, make it faster, more intense. Listen to Filoni, and it's like, no.
And if it fails, no one's going to stand in the bullet in front of you.
Right.
They're going to let you take all the hits for it. All the hits.
No, I mean, that's why I do have hope with Favreau, because Favreau ain't getting bullied by anybody.
No, true. Very
Favreau's
true.
not getting bullied by anybody. Favreau's going to make the movie he wants to make. I think that the Favreau movie could look the most like the original trilogy out of any movie that we've seen thus far.
Very possible.
But we'll see. Derek, what's up, Derek? What are your thoughts on balding? My best friend's got a big spot, but has braids around the center can only be covered by a hat. I believe you should just let it go when the time comes. Where do you both stand? I don't agree with that, because like I said, I've gotten involved with both recently hymns and has been helping out tremendous people. Nutrafol has been on board for we're in such a different place now in the world, where with advances in things in science and the way that things work, so you can actually make it work now. And if you want to put in in the work, you can make it happen, because it's like it's hard for dudes, man, because this is not on you, Derek, but there's a lot of people like, just do it naturally, and then because women go through do a billion different things to themselves, and they're like, yeah, it's all right, that's what they do, it's okay. It's like guys do it, and it's like, oh, you puss, just do it, just age naturally, and it's like it's not fair. I think everybody should be able to do whatever the hell you want to do to yourself.
Yeah, whatever feels comfortable for you, whatever you're happy with, it's what's got to go. It's about your own personal feeling about it, for sure. Like I'm very close to shaving all my hair off and just playing around with a bald look a little bit.
Really?
Myself, yeah. And everyone's like, "You got such great hair. Why would you do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I like the look. Like one of my favorite soccer players, Mohamed Salah for Liverpool. Yeah. I like the bald. It's not full bald; it's just a little bit. And I'm like, that's actually not a bad look. I want to try that look out. So we'll see. But it's all personal choice.
Do it on air. So Hank Pym, any wrestler interviews coming up? We almost got Lillian Garcia. We're supposed to.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were talking.
Yeah, it was supposed to happen today or this week, but I couldn't do it. And then we were going to potentially get John to do it today, but it didn't work out in time. But there were some that were thrown out my way at some point that we were working on. No one locked in yet. At one point, they had thrown out Sami Zayn, which I thought would have been great, but I just didn't happen. But no wrestling interviews happening thus far, but I would also say that the man of the hour right now is Chris Van Vliet. It's just killing it. Who's become a very good friend of mine. And you just talk about a hardworking, just good individual. I love that dude, man. He's just such a great guy. Really is.
Making great content too.
He really is. Blake Gilbert, surprised how good Romulus was, except the DH character. Overall, great movie. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that there is that bit of the like you can go on YouTube and you can find DH stuff and all that type of stuff, and you can find it significantly better than the stuff that they're still doing on movies. And
yeah, I see people's points and issues. I was more jazzed that character showed up.
Yeah,
and I don't think you de-age that character because that character is not an aging thing. So yeah, but I get it in terms of the actor
analogy.
Yeah. So yeah. Especially when I just watched the Apes movie. I did a movie reaction for the Apes movie, and that technology is incredible.
Oh, so good.
I'm like, how could you not do that with
the most recent one?
Yeah, the most recent one.
Had you not seen it?
No, I'd never seen it before.
Oh, it's good. Was it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Really,
loved it.
Really liked it a lot. Fuzzy Bubbles. I blocked Dallas. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. He blocked him.
How can you do that?
I guess he blocked him from his own. He just didn't want to deal with him, I guess.
Fair point.
And then Fuzzy Bubbles follows it up. I don't like people being disrespectful. All right, that's fair.
Thank you.
Philly G. I'm with Roke. Florence Pugh for the win. Roberts could play a female Joker with us. How dare you? People are you want to get blocked from my channel? You besmirch the good name of Julia Roberts. Are you crazy? Crazy. I mean, the woman was a smoke show.
You're insane.
In Pretty Woman, are you out of your mind?
I don't get it. I never found her attractive. Never.
Lunatic.
When they do that scene in Ocean's 11 when he's like, this is the best part of my day, when she walks down, I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know.
I wrote that line and sent it.
I'm sure you did.
Moist gumption. Worked overnights and would miss these live show. I got a new job and I'm much happier. Happy to have you too. Thanks to the big thing for helping me survive overnight. So I'm glad that is something that you are able to do and you're able to be with us. And thank you for the kind words. And yeah, we got a lot of great stuff happening right now on the channel. So I'm glad that you're part of it. Grim Bear 13. People are so fast to throw blame at Marvel for ruining movies. Yeah. But it seems that they overlook things like theater conditions, cost, and audience behavior. 1000%.
Agreed.
Yeah. People have changed in general. And the attitude and the appetite for movies have changed also.
I went to Twisters.
Yes.
And an old couple was fighting behind me, went into different rows.
Oh no.
I had a family come in right as the movie is starting with their 2 teenage daughters, and they started talking through the whole effing movie. And another person fell asleep another old man fell asleep during the movie. You understand?
Did you watch it with the cast of Cocoon?
Yeah. To me, I'm like, I get so mad. Look, I'm not going to do this, but I get so mad at people disrespecting the movie-going experience like this. I want to take baseball bats to everybody. I mean, I would never do that, but that's how I feel sometimes because like it's such a sacred place, the movie theater. And so people don't respect it anymore. The new generations, they don't care.
Well, that's why I very rarely go to the movies when it's not press screenings because of that. It's like without fail, there's always someone that is either on their phone, feet up like a disgusting animal.
Yes.
Like putting their, like some guy not too long ago when I was still in LA had his socks, just his socks on with his feet up, this disgusting big, huge claw just hanging out there. And it's like, you're at, where are you? You're not home.
It's not your living room.
Oh,
it is not your living room.
Drives me nuts. I'm with you. Joseph Sanchez, just curious. Jordan Peele films ranked. So we got 3 of them, right? You got Get Out.
Number 1.
Get Out. Nope. And then what's the third one?
Us.
Us. I would go Get Out, Us, and then Nope.
Okay.
I didn't really love Nope.
I go Get Out, Nope, Us.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't that one I didn't. I rewatch when I rewatch this Us. I like it better and better.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
But the other one I didn't Didn't dig
Yeah.
that much. Okay. Michael Miles. John Wick. Thank you, Michael, by the way. Resurrection. John Wick is in purgatory with all the people he killed and must kill them again in order to escape, avoid, and going to hell. Plot twist. His dead wife helps him along the way. I mean, if
you don't want to bring her back, come on.
If you're going down this route of the supernatural and all that, I mean, then you're not going back to number one. You're going way past where you did. But I say that not of like, oh, you're crazy, Michael. There's no way they would do that. They very well could try to do something like that.
Sure.
Because they said, we've gone so binoculars. Let's go into the supernatural world now. But in my own personal opinion, I hope that they don't do that.
What they need to bring back is the dead dog that was killed in the first one.
And then he starts fighting too.
Yeah, in purgatory. Yeah, absolutely.
I watched that. Did you watch that dog documentary on Netflix they just put out?
No. Should I? Is it good?
You should watch it. It's good. It's like
okay.
Basically these people. They're in Long Island actually, and what they do is they get these dogs and they have them. They train them. They like this doggy kindergarten. They get them as puppies and they get them and they try to get them to people, whether it's soldiers with PTSD or it's people who need the service dogs, and they train them through and they get them to a place that if they graduate, they can get to this family and be with them, these service dogs. But they not just that portion of it. They also just kind of go over the brainwaves of the dogs and what dogs can do and what for a list. There's one dog that's like talking through it. It's interesting.
Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, I like it. We watched it with the kids and it was pretty
okay.
Cool.
She's a big dog lover, so I'll watch it with her.
Okay. Jim 1, Rangers or Islanders? Rangers, but not that I'm, gonna fight to the death for it. It's just like it's one of those things that if they make the playoffs, I'll watch them. I'm not like a huge hockey fan. I'm the cliche answer of, for some reason, hockey's just so much more exciting to watch in person than it is on TV. Yeah. Joe Hendo TV. Would you like to see George Miller get another shot at Justice League and James Gunn's DCU? I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see George Miller do something outside of the Mad Max world, and I like to see him do something outside. I like to see an original. I mean, he's only so much longer. The guy's gonna be able to do what he's doing, and he's still doing it. So I'd like to see him do something like a new movie by the mind of George Miller. Like that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, sure.
But the problem is they're probably not going to give him that because the last movie didn't do very well.
Yeah.
So they probably would give him something like that.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. Julius Wyatt, 5 days till college football.
Yeah.
I love you guys. How do you think we're going to do this year, John?
I just got my college football 25 for EA Sports. Can't wait to pop that thing open and play it. I think we're going to do really well this year. I really think we're going to be in contention. I think we're going to beat Georgia Tech there in Ireland. That's how we're opening in Dublin, which is so awesome. But I think we're going to be really well. I mean, it sucks to lose our quarterback, but it's the game. And I think our coach is fantastic, man. So I'm looking forward to this season. It's going to be fun. Bama too. Yeah.
It's the last one. Derek Johnson, Julia Roberts, Dust Pugh, both in their primes. That's right.
You crazy.
With lips and curves on Julia.
What curves?
Are you crazy? You ever see Mystic Pizza, fool?
She's a carpenter's dream. You're insane.
What? You've never, dude, she had a dunk. You kidding me?
Please.
You're kidding me. Where are you at, John, in that world? Sorry, I love Florence, but that girl's body isn't for me. Yeah, Julia Roberts the whole reason she wore the thing over herself in Pretty Woman, because she thought she had a big butt. It's like, yeah, you do. Show it.
Why? Not Tchotchke.
You're out of here.
You got the Tchotchke.
So
curves. Get out of here.
That's right.
She has no curves.
You're nuts. You got curve in your brain.
Christina Hendricks. That's curves.
People are out of your freaking minds. You want to get me all worked up. You see, you tell John, you start getting John all worked up about whatever it was, calling him, telling me to get rid of him. You make one shot at Julia Roberts, and I'll come to your house.
There you go.
Anyway, so what do you think overall about all this stuff? I'm glad that you guys were in here. Thank you for all the super chats and the questions you put in here. John, thank you. Where can we find you?
You can find me hanging out with Thunder God Cairo 770, who says Julie does not have curves; those are sidewalks. LOL. I agree.
Nice to see you, John. It's been nice. So.
Oh yeah, you can find me at the Roca Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, the Hello Nation on Twitch, and my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Roca Says. Come and hang out with us. We love you. We appreciate it. Geek Buddies live tonight at 6 p.m. PT. Come hang out. Thanks, Christian. Great seeing everybody.
Thanks, John. Thank you to all you guys. Really appreciate you. Make sure that you comment, put your thoughts in there. Let me know everything. that you thought about all the stuff that we talked about here today. Don't forget our clips channel. We have a clips channel that we put all the stuff from the interviews, and I have that up there. I have a bunch of stuff from the Nestor Carbonell interview. I'm going to put Michael Emerson stuff up there. We have some great ones from Robert Eiler. I put up some stuff from oh man, there's tons of stuff. Some of the Amber Mid-Thunder stuff that we did. So make sure you check that out. And that's it, man. We'll be back here tomorrow. We got stuff coming up. Wednesday, I'm going to do a fall movie preview. It's just going to be me and Matt Sarah talking about all the movies coming out for fall movie preview. Thursday, Roxy and Brett will be hosting the show. Roxy's going to be hosting the show. I will be off on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and then Friday, Winston will be hosting the show with Coy. But that will be this week, guys. So make sure you have subscribed, comment, and if you want to support the show and you're able to support the show, I always say if you can, get yourself one of our wonderful sponsors. But even if you can't, please tell me you've been clicking that link, like one of the sponsor links. Go to a sponsor, click the link, browse around. That helps. I didn't buy anything. Browse around. It helps. Thank you. Really appreciate it. We'll see you on the flip side. And that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. I think so, right? Is that what I said? Yeah, I said it.